What's up guys, Jamie the Kid 00 here, coming at you guys with a Mermail Atlantean combo video. I got asked in one of my more recent videos, or on my Facebook, I can't remember, to do a Mermail Atlantean combo video, kind of like my Infinities or my Wind-Ups one, and I thought, hey, why not? That'd be kind of interesting. There are a few combos I came up with, and a few that I wanted to go through on camera, so I figured it'd be a nice idea. So this is what I've produced for you guys. I've come up with a few little skits with a few different little combos in them, and I know it's by far not every combo that I can come up with, but it's a few of my favourites, a few I've found on the net, and just a few that I really enjoy pulling off in games. If there are any others you want to bring to my attention, please feel free to do so. I will be attaching a deck profile shortly after this video is published, or shortly before, I'm not sure, so that you guys know what deck I've been using to do all this. But otherwise, please sit back, enjoy, and let's move on to combo number 1. Okay, so the first combo we're going to talk about is how to basically most efficiently put game damage and a Mooling Glacier on board usually turn 2. Sorry for Cupcakey sneezing in the background. Basically, all you're going to need for this play is an Atlantean Dragoons and either a Lind or a Sphere in hand. It doesn't matter which one, but for simplicity's sake we're going to use a Lind. But you know, anyone who's watching this should really know the Abyss Sphere Lind play. Or maybe I can include it in this video, I don't know. Either way, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that we are taking the first turn and our opponent is going second. We're going to take our Mermail Abyss Lind, set it face down the field, and we're just going to pass turn there. Now this could be done also by setting the Abyss Sphere, and we could get the same result, but the Abyss Sphere would be a much better choice, because it means that we wouldn't need to be attacked. But we're just, for simplicity's sake of the tutorial, we're going to set our Mermail Abyss Lind, and assume that our opponent is going to attack into it on his turn. So of course they're going to attack into it on their turn. Abyss Lind will usually be destroyed depending on what attacked it, and we're going to then use Abyss Lind's effect to special summon a copy of Mermail Abyss Pike from our deck. We're then going to use Abyss Pike's effect to send the Atlantean Dragoons that was in our hand to the graveyard to activate its effect. To search as a level 3 water to our hand, we're going to choose Genex Undyne, and then of course Dragoons is going to activate and allow us to add a copy of Mermail Abyss Megalo to our hand, because we're going to need Megalo to make our game push. Anyone who knows this deck knows that Megalo is usually going to mean the game push. So that will usually be the point at which your opponent ends their turn. You know, they've just summoned one monster, attacked, set a couple back row maybe, ended. We're just going to assume that no responses happen to this combo. Of course responses will normally happen, but I just want to talk about how the combo would be pulled off. So of course we're going to draw one card, and it's going to be a salvage, but it's not really going to matter, because we can do this and it doesn't matter about our draws. So we're then going to summon a Genex Undyne from our hand and activate Undyne's effect. We're going to send another copy of Atlantean Dragoons to the graveyard to activate its effect, to add a Genex controller to hand, and then Dragoons is also going to allow us to search out a copy of Mooling Glacier to our hand. Now at this point, we're basically set up to make our push. Of course we could then go, I don't know, Allure of Darkness for a Diva and a Pot of Avarice, but it really doesn't matter. So now at this point, looking at our graveyard, we should have, I believe, 3 waters in grave. Yeah, 3 waters. We're then going to go ahead and activate the effect of our Mermail Abyss Megalo and send 2 waters. This combo does require you to have 2 waters in hand, so I mean the salvage could come in handy and things like that. But we're going to send a copy of Deep Sea Diva and Atlantean Heavy Infantry, just because this is the hand we drew, to activate Mermail Abyss Megalo's effect. We're then going to, of course, resolve Abyss Megalo's effect, special summon it to the field. And just because we have to and we can, and you guys will call me up on it if we don't, search Abyss Sphere to our hand. So we've now got this as our hand, this as our board, and our grave should be these cards. Now you can pull off this same combo, starting off with just Abyss Pike in hand and Dragoons, instead of an Abyss Lind and a Sphere. You can start off just using Abyss Pike, and making the plays you've seen here so far when we started Abyss Pike, and then at this stage you could tribute the Genex Undyne to get the same effect we're about to cause. Now that we have 5 waters in grave, of course we're going to drop our Mooling Glacier, the Elemental Lord, and rip 2 cards out of our opponent's hand. Now, assuming at this point our opponent hasn't responded, and if we conveniently had a Heavy Infantry, we would have just popped their face-up monster, and they would have no board, with a bit of luck. But of course that's never going to be the case, but this is just the perfect situation. We're then going to activate the effect of our Mermail Abyss Megalo and send our Genex Undyne to the grave to allow it to attack twice, giving us 16, 48, and 28 damage. So I'd like to call that game. Either way, that's been combo 1. Now let's move on to the next one. Our second combo is going to be something quite a bit simpler. This is just going to be a combo which is probably going to be fairly self-explanatory to a lot of you guys, but some of you may not have spotted this, and it is a really nice combo. Some people say that Deep Sea Diva clogs in hand quite a bit, and they don't really find ways to use two at once. I mean, maybe you could just summon one out and get some advantage off of the second Diva by using heavy infantry, and this is basically what we're going to do, but I'm going to demonstrate probably the best way to get advantage off of having two Divas in hand. So, long story short, we're going to end with a board of Hyper Librarian and Armory Arm. It is fairly simple of how to get there, but I felt the need to point out this combo because it is a really great way to produce a really high-powered beater off of quite a cloggy and not very good hand. So we're going to summon our Diva. Of course, you would have more stuff in hand, and depending on how far into the game you are, you might have more in hand, you might have less, but we've just created a simplified game state here. So we're going to summon one Diva and activate its effect. We're going to search an Atlantean Heavy Infantry from our deck. Our Atlantean Heavy Infantry is then going to allow us an extra normal summon for a Sea Serpent monster, and that's where the second Diva comes in. So we're going to normal summon a second Diva, and then use its effect to special summon an Atlantean Marksman from our deck. So we now have a board of such. Now some people might be a bit quick here and just synchro straight up into Armory Arm, but you don't want to do that because you're going to net yourself another plus right here, right now. So we're going to synchro with the Diva and the Marksman to give us a copy of TG Hyper Librarian. Of course, Hyper Librarian's effect being when you synchro summon, you get to draw one card, so now you know where this is going. We're then going to synchro Deep Sea Diva and Atlantean Heavy Infantry together to get us our copy of Armory Arm. And of course then TG Hyper Librarian's effect is going to let us draw one card. So conveniently we drew a salvage, so we're going to get some advantage off of this even more. So we'll just put our hand over there for now. And of course then we can then go on to attach our Armory Arm to our Hyper Librarian and start swinging for 3,400 damage and dealing all of that in piercing if our opponent is if our opponent's monster is in attack mode. You're going to be dealing 34 over an attack position monster, or be dealing the monster's attack and damage if it's a defense position monster. So it's a pretty nice combo off of two cards which probably wouldn't do much on their own, but with that setup, it's definitely... This is probably the best way to use those two. I mean, you could, if you've used your Librarian and things like that, go into things like Katastor Gachi off of that play, and with Sphere you can do so much more, which I will get onto in a minute. Either way, that's about it for combo number 2. Sorry for the choppy transition, I may have accidentally ran out of memory. But we're going to move on to combo number 3. Okay, combo number 3 is something that I've actually stolen from a video I watched on YouTube by Robert Boyajin. It was a duel in which he used 2 Abyss Spheres and a Deep Sea Diva to make a crazy play that everyone was branding the 2-for-1 deal. So I figured I'd show you guys it. If it's been done by other people, it's been done by other people. But this is the combo that I saw on the video, and I really liked it because I thought this was really nice advantage. It does require quite some setup because it requires you to have 2 set Abyss Spheres and 1 Deep Sea Diva in hand, but other than that it's pretty easy for you to pull off. So we're going to start off the combo by activating a copy of Abyss Sphere and getting ourselves a copy of Mermail Abyss Spike from our deck. So now I'm just going to put the Diva over here for now. We're not going to activate our Abyss Spike's effect, we're just going to have the Abyss Spike on field. We're then going to summon our Deep Sea Diva and use Deep Sea Diva's effect to get another copy of herself from the deck. Same as Tour Guide. We're then going to move everything over for space reasons, and we're then going to activate the other copy of Abyss Sphere that was on our field and get ourselves a copy of Mermail Abyss Lind from our deck. Now this is everything we're going to need on board to make our play. So first we're going to synchro summon our Diva and our Lind together to get ourselves a copy of TG Hyper Librarian. So you can see where this is going, we're going to get pluses off of this. We're then going to synchro our Diva and our Abyss Spike to get ourselves a copy of Dularan, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. Of course, we're then going to draw one card. Yay, salvage. Then, this is where the pluses come in even more, because we've already got one card in hand now. We're then going to use Dularan's effect and target both our Abyss Spheres. We're then going to resolve its effect, returning both the Abyss Spheres to hand, boosting this up to 3k, so we have 54 damage on board, and we now have 3 cards in hand for our 3 that were on, for our 1 in hand and 2 that were on board. And we also have our 2 free synchro monsters and 4 water monsters in graveyard. So we're 1 away from setting up our Megalo. We've drawn 1, and we have 2. Sorry, our Moulin, and we have 2 spheres to continue to abuse our Abyss Lind advantage engine. So yeah, I really like this combo. I really like every combo that involves Dularan, to be honest. There's so many I could come up with. So, yeah, that's it for this combo. There's also a slightly different variation on the combo I mentioned before, which is probably more useful for removing threats from the board and getting you more searches, rather than just putting muscle on board. So I'm going to go through that combo now. It's a little different and it doesn't give you quite as much advantage, but it removes more stuff from your opponent's board. So of course we still need the same setup of Diva and 2 spheres. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and summon our Diva. We're then going to, of course, activate the Diva's effect. And we're going to special summon a Heavy Infantry from our deck. Now the Heavy Infantry will become more relevant later on. Now we're going to activate 1 copy of our sphere and special summon an Abyss Spike from our deck. We're then going to use the Diva and the Spike to synchro for a copy of Dularan, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. We're then going to activate our other sphere and get ourselves a copy of Mermail Atlantean from our deck. We're then going to use the effect of Dularan, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier to return both the spheres and our Heavy Infantry to our hand. So this is now our hand back here. And because the sphere left the field, Mermail Atlantean is then destroyed. Mermail Atlantean's effect then activates, getting you an Abyss Spike from the deck. An Abyss Spike's effect can then be activated, sending the Heavy Infantry from your hand to the graveyard, killing your opponent's monster if you didn't have a way to get past it, if it was a Reaper or a BLS or anything to that like. Killing your opponent's monster and allowing you to search your deck for something more useful to your cause, like, say, a Genix Undyne or a Marksman. But let's go with Undyne for now. You now have a 1600 attack monster, and I believe a 3500 attack monster in hand. So on board, and a hand of 3 cards. So it's essentially the same as the last play, except you don't have a Hyper Library and you have a slightly smaller monster. But you've also removed 1 card from your opponent's field, and you have 2 spheres which you can now go on to set again. So it's just another combo, another way to generate advantage, but ultimately it depends on how you would use these 2 combos in different turn of events, how the field is set up. Just use it to deal with different problems. Okay, for the last combo we're just going to finish off with something really simple, which was probably the most standard OTK formation you can make. But the only issue is, with this OTK, it requires your opponent to have no monsters on board. And you have to start off by having a Megalo on board in some way, summoning it either by a sphere combo or in some other manner, but you need to have a Megalo on field that's capable of using its effect. So you've also got to have a Diva in hand, which we're then going to normal summon to start our OTK going. So we're going to summon the Diva, activate its effect to get us a copy of Atlantean Marksman. We're then going to use Megalo's effect to tribute our Deep Sea Diva, allowing it to attack twice. We're then going to attack with our Marksman, and then because Marksman has dealt damage, we're able to special summon an Atlantean from our deck. I'm going to special summon an Atlantean Dragoons. Dragoons is then going to attack directly for another 18, and then we're going to swing for 48, which I believe should be an OTK game damage. If it's not, please feel free to correct me, but I believe that should be OTK game damage. Either way, guys, this has been my first video on Mermail Atlantean OTKs. OTKs and combos, sorry. I know there are probably quite a few more of these combos that I haven't really reviewed just yet. And if there are any you guys want me to make in videos, please feel free to let me know. But otherwise, this is about everything I've come up with for this first segment. I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know what you've thought. And again, any other combos, please feel free to let me know them, and I'll try and produce them in another video. This has been Jamie the Kid 00. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.